Hey, what's up everybody? It's Warren, and this morning we finally got the official trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home, and it was awesome. I absolutely loved it. I did a breakdown video of it earlier today, but it seems like some people don't know that Sony and Marvel actually released an international trailer as well that has different footage. It's got about 30 seconds of different scenes than the US trailer, so in this video I'll be breaking that down and the whole trailer as well. As I mentioned in my video earlier on today, this is technically the first trailer for Phase 4 of the MCU, so it's really exciting and the trailer was just phenomenal. There's a lot to talk about, a lot to break down, and some Easter eggs as well, and some tiny hints at Avengers Endgame. Now, it's not mentioned at all in the trailer, nor are the events of Avengers Infinity War. But that was expected. They're not going to give anything away about Avengers Endgame in this trailer, so let's just jump right into it. So I'm going to be breaking down both trailers in this video. I'm going to combine them and talk about them chronologically. I will let you know when I'm discussing scenes that are in the international trailer. So the first scene we have is Spider-Man and Aunt May at an event supporting the homeless. So if you remember the last scene for Spider-Man Homecoming, Aunt May now knows that Peter is Spider-Man. And it looks like she accepted it pretty well and actually looks pretty excited about it. Enough for her to go to events with him and high-five him after at least. So then we have Happy Hogan coming after, and this is where we see the romance between him and Aunt May. There was talk about a romance between Happy and Aunt May after the trailer was shown at CCXP in Sao Paulo, Brazil, and now we're finally seeing it on screen, and it's very noticeable. They're doing it on purpose, obviously showing that there's a romance between them, and Peter is kind of like, what the heck is going on, because he can tell too. So in the next scene you see Peter Parker packing, and he says that he's going to Europe on a school trip. So this is obviously setting up the fact that he's going to be far from home. He's not going to be in New York, he's going to be in Europe. But in this next scene is something really interesting. We see Spider-Man swinging around in the city, and in the back is the old Avengers Tower. So in Spider-Man Homecoming, we learned that Tony Stark actually sold the old Avengers Tower, and the Avengers headquarters moved to upstate New York. Well, as you can see in the still, somebody has already bought the building and has begun renovations on it. Since the trailer showed at CCXP, there has been talk and rumors that this could be a Fantastic Four building or a Norman Osborn building. Out of the two, it's more than likely a Norman Osborn building. We haven't seen him in the MCU, and he's a huge part of Spider-Man. And at the time that this was filming, and still currently, Disney and Marvel do not own the rights to use the Fantastic Four in the MCU, so it's more than likely an Osborn building. So the next scene shows Peter Parker going to pick up a passport, and this is actually a really cool Easter egg. If you notice, his date of birth on the passport says August 10th. That's actually the date that Spider-Man appeared for the very first time in the comics, August of 1962. So that's a cool little Easter egg they did there. So the next scene is a pretty big scene. He's trying to pack for his trip, and Aunt May tells him to pack his Spider-Man suit. But he doesn't want to pack his Spider-Man suit. We hear him say, I just want to go on a trip with my friends. So he doesn't want to go as Spider-Man, he wants to go as Peter Parker. He kind of wants to put down that mantle just for a little bit so he can enjoy this vacation with his friends. And he even says that Europe doesn't need a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. But another big thing about this scene is that if you look at his Spider-Man suit, this is not the Iron Spider suit. So he doesn't have the Iron Spider suit for some reason. Kevin Feige has already come out and said that this movie is not a prequel to Infinity War or Avengers Endgame. So that leaves us with the question, why doesn't he have his Iron Spider suit? Why does he have his old suit? This is obviously something that we probably won't figure out until after Avengers Endgame has come out in theaters. And then there's a really cool Easter egg where we see Peter close his suitcase. You can tell that his suitcase is pretty old, it looks pretty beat up, but on it has the initials BFP. The initials stand for Ben F. Parker, which of course is Uncle Ben. So this is his Uncle Ben suitcase that he now has. So Peter Parker doesn't actually pack his Spider-Man suit, but in the international trailer we learned that Aunt May actually did. In the international trailer, it starts off with Peter Parker having already packed up his things and is already at the airport going through customs. A woman who works for customs is going through his suitcase, and when she opens his suitcase, what do we see? Right there on top is his Spider-Man suit, with a little note from Aunt May saying, "You almost forgot this." So Peter actually left his suit at home, but Aunt May, knowing that he might need it while he's in London, packed it for him. Good call, Aunt May. So Peter is freaking out because this woman at customs is seeing his Spider-Man suit, and he's afraid that she's going to know who he is. But as it turns out, she just tells him that he can't bring a banana through customs because you can't bring food through customs. And then in the international trailer, it shows Peter's friends going through customs, starting with MJ. And then it shows Ned and Betty, and what's interesting here is that Betty's got her hand on Ned's shoulder. And Ned seems to have a newfound confidence in this trailer, so maybe there's a little bit of romance going on between the two of them as well. It then shows Peter Parker and his friends taking off and landing in Europe. And then also in the international trailer, we hear Peter and Ned talking. Ned is telling Peter that they have 2 weeks in Europe and it's gonna be great. And then Peter says, I'm just going to enjoy my trip and hang out with MJ. And this is where we see the romance start between him and MJ, and if you notice, they actually all call her MJ now. It's a pretty funny scene. They show the awkwardness of Peter Parker trying to flirt with MJ here, and she's just messing with him. And then going back to a scene that is in the international trailer, not the US trailer, we actually see Peter and MJ taking a nice little romantic walk together. But ultimately you can tell that they both like each other and this is the start of a romance. And we can hear Peter talking to Ned about that in the next scene in their hotel room where he says, I just want to spend some time with MJ, I think she really likes me, dude. And then bam, Ned gets hit in the neck with a tranq dart from Nick Fury, knocking him out. So I've already seen some people wondering, why didn't Peter's spidey senses go off and tell him that Nick Fury was in his room? Because as you can see, this takes him by total surprise. But yes, he does have spidey senses. We saw this in Avengers Infinity War, but they did not go off because Nick Fury is not a threat to him. Just like in Spider-Man Homecoming where his spidey senses didn't go off when Ned was in his room. Ned was not a threat to him and Nick Fury is not a threat to him, so his spidey senses did not go off. Then Nick Fury introduces himself in true Nick Fury fashion, super spy, super cool, super casual, just nice to finally meet you, Spider-Man. Peter instantly recognizes that it's Nick Fury, and although he's never met him before, he does know who he is because of his involvement with Iron Man and Happy. Also kind of funny to see Nick Fury alive because the last time we saw him, he was turning to dust. Again, they're not going to give anything about Avengers Endgame away in this trailer, but Nick Fury clearly comes back somehow. So Nick Fury tells him to put some clothes on, let's go for a ride, and this is where he recruits Spider-Man for a mission. We then see Peter with the Spider-Man suit on in a boat with Nick Fury. He actually did bring his Spider-Man suit. They showed that to us in the international trailer. So he brought his original suit, but Nick Fury does still give him new suits. And we see that in the very next scene where he's actually wearing his red and black suit, and it is actually a glider, which is super cool. It's really awesome to see them bring that into this movie. And as you can see, he's using the suit to fly towards this chaos and destruction that is happening on this bridge in London. We learned that this chaos and destruction is actually the elementals attacking. The elementals are extra-dimensional humanoids who basically have control over the elements of the earth. In the comics, there are 4 of them. Hydron, who is the Lord of the Waters, Magnum, who is the Master of the Earth, Hellfire, who is the Wielder of Flame, and Zephyr, who is the Mistress of the Winds. So we hear Nick Fury tell Peter that he's got gifts, but he's got a job to do, and that job is to take out the elementals. And we actually see all of the elementals throughout the trailer. In this scene, we actually see Nick Fury and Maria Hill fighting Magnum. Then we go back to the bridge scene where there's a lot of chaos going on, and we see lightning and we see fire, and the lightning is most likely Zephyr and the fire is Hellfire. We have another cool scene that shows Spider-Man using his glider suit to fly into the fire, most likely going to fight Hellfire, which we see very briefly in this still right here. And then we have a very interesting scene with Happy Hogan. Happy is talking to Peter and he says, "You're all alone, your friends are in trouble, what are you going to do about it?" If you want to avoid any Avengers Endgame possible spoilers at all, skip ahead like 25 seconds. Why is Happy telling Peter, you're all alone? And why does Nick Fury talk to Spider-Man directly? And we have not seen Tony Stark at all in this trailer. That could say something about the events of Avengers Endgame. Now, obviously, if he is in Spider-Man Far From Home, they're not going to show him in this trailer. They're not going to give anything away about Avengers Endgame, but just think about that. We then see Spider-Man drop in with a new all-black suit. What this is his stealth suit. This isn't something that Peter already had, this is something that Nick Fury gave to him. We know this because we have already seen leaked photos and a leaked video of Peter Parker in the Spider-Man stealth suit. We know this because in the leaked photos, we saw on Spider-Man's upper part of his chest a SHIELD logo. And what's actually very interesting about this shot in the trailer is they actually blacked out the logo. Not really a big surprise here. Marvel has been known to do this. They've been known to change and tweak a little bit of the trailers to try to avoid any spoilers that they can. But the stealth suit is basically exactly what it sounds like. It helps Peter Parker be stealthy and go about his business undetected. The suit sort of adapts to the environment surrounding it, and it also helps him see at night. We then go to a scene where there's an attack from the water elemental. They haven't actually named the elementals yet. They could be going with the original names, or this could actually be a version of Hydro Man. This elemental attacks and we see Peter Parker trying to help his friends and everybody else get to safety. Then we see the elemental just deliver a huge punch to Peter Parker, knocking him down, and you can tell that he's just very taken back by how strong this elemental is. And then we have what I think is just the very best part of the whole entire trailer. Mysterio shows up. He makes an epic drop in, then it cuts to Peter Parker hanging off the edge of a building, soaking wet, and then Mysterio says, "You don't want any part of this," and then begins to attack the water elemental. We see the beams come out of his hands, and then we see him fly and go fight the water elemental. So Mysterio is actually a person named Quentin Beck, and Quentin Beck does not have any superhuman powers at all. But he is very, very skilled and talented. He is an expert designer of special effect devices and stage illusions, a master hypnotist and magician, and a chemist and roboticist. So he can create devices such as his suit that allow him to fly and create smoke. And if you look at his suit, it actually looks like Chitauri tech. This is the same tech that Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming was collecting. So it's possible that he got this tech from Vulture. We know that Michael Keaton is going to be in this movie as Vulture. So maybe Mysterio got this tech from Vulture, or maybe Peter Parker will have to work with Vulture somehow to take down Mysterio. Because although this trailer does depict Mysterio as a good guy, he is actually the villain. In the comics, Mysterio actually wants to be a hero. He wants to be an Avenger, so his plan is to defeat Spider-Man and show everybody that he's a better hero. And what Mysterio does is create illusions, and that is probably what the elementals are in Spider-Man Far From Home. We learned from Jake Gyllenhaal himself at CCXP that Mysterio gets recruited by Nick Fury. He gets recruited by Nick Fury because he is supposed to be an expert on these elementals. But the reason he's an expert on them is because he actually is creating them. They are his illusions. And his plan is to make it look like he's actually a hero and a friend of Spider-Man, and then defeat Spider-Man. And again, he looks awesome. We even get to see him wear his fishbowl helmet. I think the character is done amazingly. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is a perfect actor to play Mysterio. And overall, this is just a phenomenal trailer. The next trailer will probably come out after Avengers Endgame. And it will probably give us a little bit more info because we will have known what happens in Avengers Endgame. So the next trailer probably won't come until after Avengers Endgame. And that will be a full trailer. Although this trailer is long and really, really awesome, it's still a teaser trailer. So the next one should be a full trailer. And then we have the last scene, which is funny and ironic because we have Flash just praising Spider-Man, saying how much he loves him, and then he makes fun of Peter Parker, and of course they're the same person. So that's it for my full breakdown of the very first Spider-Man Far From Home teaser trailer. Let me know how awesome you thought it was, and let me know your favorite part of the trailer in the comments down below. And just a heads up, I'm giving away a life-sized Infinity Gauntlet. If you'd like to enter the giveaway for your chance to win, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, like this video, and comment down below with your thoughts and your favorite superhero. And be sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date on everything related to Spider-Man Far From Home, Avengers Endgame, and all things Marvel. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.